Winter might not be the obvious time to visit Cape Town in South Africa, but after 3 weeks there, we'd happily recommend it. In this episode, Doug and I talk through what to expect and what we learned to help you plan a winter trip of your own. Hi everybody and welcome to this week's edition of the Global Travel Planner Podcast. This is our second episode focused on South Africa. So if you listened 2 weeks ago, you'll have had our episode about things to do and see in Cape Town.
Yep.
And this week we're talking about how to plan a visit to Cape Town in winter, because that's when we went, didn't we, Doug?
Certainly did.
So yes, I'm joined again by Doug for this episode to chat about our recent 3-week trip to Cape Town. In fact, we're in South Africa for about 4.5 weeks altogether. In the next couple of episodes, hopefully we're going to talk to you all about game drives.
Oh, yes.
And what to do and how to prepare. And hopefully Henrik, our private guide, will come on and share all about his amazing experiences and wisdom about planning a game drive.
That'll be good.
But anyway, this episode, we thought we'd talk about a lot of the things that we learned and some of the tips and things that we can share if you're planning a trip to Cape Town. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about winter. And there are some kind of things that are specific to winter, but there are going to be some tips in here that are relevant whenever you visit Cape Town, really. So that's the thing that we want to talk about. So should we talk about why we went in the winter?
Well, that's a good starting point, I suppose, isn't it? Yeah.
Right, okay. So we were in Europe and we were heading back to Australia and we didn't have kind of flights booked. We were deciding which way to go. At the minute, we didn't really fancy going by the Middle East, so we were like, why don't we go via South Africa?
Sounds like a good plan.
And it turned out to be an excellent plan. So it's about a 10-11 hour flight from London down to Cape Town. We actually went via Johannesburg, and then from Johannesburg back to Perth, where we are at the moment, it's only kind of less than 9 hours.
Yeah, not far.
Actually, a really pleasant way to visit. So obviously we were leaving Europe, the Northern Hemisphere in the summer and heading down to the Southern Hemisphere for the winter.
That's right.
Now, when I did start planning this trip, I had a few people who said, why would you want to go to Cape Town in winter? And there was a few kind of negative Nellies a bit. It's always going to be cold. It's going to be rainy. It's going to be awful. It's going to be we know that Cape Town, the weather can be iffy because obviously we're talking about the winter. Now, I have visited Cape Town. I think this is my third visit to Cape Town in winter, and I've actually always been very lucky with the weather. And were we lucky with the weather?
I think we were.
We actually had, out of 21 days, we only had, I think, 3 days of rain.
Yep.
I think a couple of times it might have rained overnight, but otherwise that was it. Now, we were very lucky. So I'm not going to say that if you decide to plan a trip in July, that's the weather you're going to get. It's a bit like the UK. You can't really predict exactly what you're going to get. No. There wasn't a lot of rain, and it was a lot warmer. Hence, some of the places went to, the trees had the blossom out, which is a lot earlier than it should be.
Yep.
But also, I think the thing about visiting Cape Town in the winter, it kind of worked out for our plans, is that actually it's quieter, it's cheaper.
Yep.
And it's just, I don't know, more pleasant, I think, than being there in the summer when it can get really quite hot. And there are other advantages as well, because things like Table Mountain. We didn't have to queue, did we, very often? In fact, we didn't queue at all.
And also, a couple of tours you booked, you turned out to be the only people on it. So there's that advantage as well.
Yeah, so if you are thinking about winter, the advantages are that you, for example, I was talking to my friend about going up Table Mountain, and she was saying in the summer you can queue for up to 4 hours to get on the cable car. We literally walked straight onto it.
That's right.
There was no queue. It was beautiful. We headed up Table Mountain. We enjoyed the views. Came back down, no issue, no queuing at all. So that was really good. Now, in the summer, that's not necessarily the case. Now, though, what you do need to know about is, of course, that it's darker. It's dark by sort of 6 o'clock. It was dark.
That's right.
If it's windy, then the cable car will be closed. And traditionally, Cape Town is windier and rainier in kind of the winter months. So is weather dependent, but it's also weather dependent in the summer. So I'm going to say because it could actually still be very cloudy in the summer.
Right.
So we were very lucky in that, in fact, the first couple of days we arrived, it was just blue sky and sunshine. We decided not to go up Table Mountain because we've got plenty of time to go up Table Mountain. But actually, then the next day we decided to go to Table Mountain.
Tablecloth was in place.
Exactly, so we couldn't. So again, this is something I say to everybody, is if you're wanting to go up Table Mountain, whatever time of year, make sure that you check the weather forecast, give yourself a flexible ticket. And you know what? If you see a clear opening, as in it's blue skies, no cloud, head up there.
Get there.
Just go up there and do it. Because it's not guaranteed, put it that way. So so that was part of the reason, I guess, that we went in the winter. It just fit in our plans. But I know for a lot of people, it works out as a cheaper time of year to go. And if you want to avoid the crowds of the summer,
that's right.
This is a perfect time to go. Now, should we talk a little bit about where we stayed?
Good idea.
So, looking at where to stay in Cape Town, obviously there's lots of choices for different areas to stay in. So I started looking on booking.com, was figuring out really what I wanted to do because we're staying there for 3 weeks. We wanted our own apartment.
That's right.
And I found the perfect apartment.
It was fantastic, I have to say.
Absolutely amazing. And I'm going to share a link to it because I tell you something, we'll be staying there again. It was perfect. It was about a 7-minute walk from the Victoria and Albert Waterfront. We had a Woolworths shop at the bottom of the road.
2 minutes away.
We had restaurants at the bottom of the road. We had a dry cleaning shop at the bottom of the road.
2 minutes away.
Every time we ordered Uber, it took about 2 minutes for an Uber to get there. So it was an absolutely fantastic,
wonderful
place to stay. So
very well equipped as well, I have to say.
It's one of the best apartments I've ever stayed at. So we had a 1-bedroom apartment with an ensuite bathroom, very well equipped kitchen. In fact, we had friends round for dinner one night, which you cooked. Because the kitchen had absolutely everything in it. And so
home, I have to say.
and also because it was winter, it was cheaper.
That's right.
So it was very, very good price. Definitely worth it, a safe area. We felt safe in that walking around there. And so, basically as well, having the option to do self-catering, you don't really want to eat out for 21 nights. It's a lot. So having the Woolworths or Woolies, which is food shop.
It's actually quite restrictive as well. If you're there also to do some work, we need to get on with things. So, going out every single night and lunches and things like that sort of eats into the day. So.
Absolutely. So it worked out really, really well for us. In fact, our daughter was in the next door street with her partner, and they also had they'd hired an apartment as well. They rented an apartment they were there for a week. And they found that really easy as well. So there are obviously lots of fantastic hotels to choose from as well at the V&A in Cape Town, but we found this very reasonable and a very, very good price and had absolutely everything that we wanted. Excellent. So I will share some photos of that accommodation in the show notes as well for this episode. So if you're considering heading to Cape Town, you're thinking, where should I stay? You want something a bit more flexible as in your own apartment, I will share a link. Because it was absolutely brilliant, and it's secure, as in we had a code to get in. There was somebody at the front desk at all times. There was parking for a car.
Secure
We didn't
parking.
hire a car, but there was secure parking if you needed it. So that was really good. Kind of, I suppose, talking about driving, we didn't drive at all. We were driven around a little bit by my friend Marie's husband, Steve. Thanks, Steve, for that, because we went and stayed with them for a few days. But on the whole, apart from taking some tours, the way that we got around was Uber, wasn't it?
Yes, and it was very straightforward.
So when I'd started arranging the trip, actually my friend Marie said the really safe and good way to get around Cape Town is by Uber. And we used that. Actually, Dominique and their partner used that all the time.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't think we waited more than about 3 minutes for an Uber.
Don't think we did, no.
Now, one thing I will say to you is that if you're going to go to the Victoria and Albert, to the front there, the wharf, there is actually only one pick-up and drop-off point, which is by the wheel. You'll see the kind of Cape Town wheel. It's beside there, and the actual entrance to the Victoria Wharf shopping centre itself at the actual V&A Waterfront. I think it's entrance 2, yeah. So that's really worth knowing. It's something that we picked up on because we wanted to get an Uber back after doing a lot of walking around. Now, make sure for safety that you do match the car and the number plate before you get into Uber. That's something that we were kind of told about before we arrived in Cape Town. So that's important to make sure that you do match up the Uber car that you've ordered with a number plate that actually arrives for you.
License plate. Yeah.
Absolutely, license plate. Yeah, and we found most of the Uber drivers are really friendly.
Yeah.
We had some really,
some real charismatic ones. Yeah.
Well, you always talk about football. We're there doing the football. Oh yeah, football World Cup and cricket were the thing. Now, and I found actually the Uber fares were absolutely excellent as well. Were really very, very good. Now, we had a few friends mention getting a hop on, hop off bus, which is very, very popular. But we didn't do it the entire time because we found Uber just easier.
Yeah, it was easier
and quicker, and then you could get picked up and dropped off when you wanted. I don't think there was anywhere that we had a trouble at all getting an Uber.
No, not at all.
So that was good. One thing I will mention is I'm going to talk about it a little bit in the next point, which is about money. But just make sure with the Uber driver that you tip. Tipping is expected. In South Africa, around about 10% or more, 10%, maybe 15%. And the first couple of times I didn't think about it and didn't tip. And I got a 1-star rating on my Uber.
Yeah. On the Uber, we're not talking about handing cash. This is about through the app.
Yes,
tipping.
on the Uber.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's sort of getting around and using Uber, and I'd highly recommend it. It is just the easiest way to get around town. It kind of leads us into money. I've talked a little bit about tipping already on your Uber app, but one thing we did find is that we did need a bit of cash.
We did.
And that was for tipping.
That's definitely
primarily.
Right. Yeah.
So there is a tipping culture. It is expected. In restaurants, even actually when I went to buy a bottle of water somewhere, there was the ability to leave a tip just from a shop. So I think it's kind of
expected.
It's expected.
Yeah.
Now, what I will say is if you're in a restaurant, they'll bring you the bill and they'll bring you a pen, and then you need to add on how much you're going to tip and then do the final amount, and that's what they'll put in.
Total amount.
Yeah, I kind of expected, being in Europe, they'll hand you the machine and then you add the tip in that, yes, do you want to tip 10% top or whatever? No, you actually have to add it on the bill itself and then add up the final amount, and then they'll put that in. Which we weren't sure about. I remember we asked the waitress at Kirstenbosch how to do it, because I was expecting to be able to add it on when she handed me the machine.
Yes.
But you can't. Now, I did use my Wise card. I used it tapping all the time when out and about. But the ability to have cash, I think we had a couple of £1,000.
That's right.
It was just useful to have that cash.
Most
and
definitely.
I'm kind of thinking we did get caught out when we arrived at Johannesburg
When we
Airport.
first arrived, that's correct. Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We had we're transferring from an international, coming in an international flight to a domestic flight.
Yeah, from Johannesburg Airport, and Porter took our bags
To show us the directions.
And I was kind of going, we've got no cash, we have no cash, we have no cash, we have no cash. And then eventually I think you got the message that we had no cash. So
and abandoned us.
So I wasn't very happy. But I was like, at that point, we just hadn't had time to get any cash. And then, of course, then we arrived in Cape Town and I'd already pre-organised the transfer.
Yeah.
And again, we got dropped off in Cape Town. And again, we had no cash.
No cash.
So I think he was pretty disgusted with us.
He was.
He wasn't very happy because we didn't have any cash. So I would say if you're going to arrive, do what we didn't do and get some cash straight at the cash point, or go into South Africa with maybe R1,000 in cash.
Yeah.
So you already have access to that. Because it is expected basically everywhere.
That's right.
Even actually when I was doing the wine tasting when I went out wine tasting, is that we were tipping the guys that were doing the wine tasting with us as well. So so cash is very much accepted. Now I will talk about when I bought some souvenirs though. I thought that would just be cash, but in Cape Town it wasn't. Everybody had to go. Everybody, even the guys with the animals by the side of the road that they've made, which I bought a few of, beautiful bead animals. They all had a machine that you could. All of them had a machine that you could tap.
That's right.
So actually, only in Johannesburg when I bought some proteas and some strelitzias, again made out of beads, that the guy wanted cash. But previous to that, it was literally all card. So primarily, I guess we used card, but we did have maybe 2,000 or 3,000 round out. I think that's we used for tipping and having that ability to do that. So that was really good. Now, things that you may not expect. Some of these may probably threw you a bit as well, I think.
Possibly so, yeah.
One is, now we weren't driving, so I'll say this, but if you are planning to hire a car, these are some of the things that you probably need to know. And guess I'm used to it because I kind of grew up there, is that you'll find that there'll be car guards in parking spaces, car parks, that you can, they'll watch your car, so then you can leave them a tip when you leave. They'll keep an eye on your car. What about the petrol stations?
Yeah, that was a bit of an eye-opener for me. I've not seen that before. So we went in with friend Stephen, and everybody waited in the car. Everything was just served around you.
Yeah, because at full service, it's kind of the way it goes in South Africa, that you stay in your car, you don't get out your car.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And so the attendant fills up your car. They'll also check your oil. They'll also check your water. They'll also clean your windscreen in your back screen. What's it called? Windscreen, back screen, whatever, on your car, back window in your car. But obviously, you will have to give them a tip. So that's where having cash really helps.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, that was something that I used to really enjoy, that I didn't have to get out and fill my car full of petrol.
You don't now. You leave it for me to do.
Yeah. Well, that is true. Well, that's what I do here. That's absolutely true. Now, if you go to the supermarket now, on Australia, we're used to people who will pack your shopping for you. Again, in South Africa, people will pack your shopping for you. But because we've just been in the UK for a few months, I just started packing anyway. But they will pack stuff for you, but take bags with you.
Yeah, we all took bags with us.
Yeah, take bags. We did find the foods. Just the food was amazing, wasn't it?
I
just the choices
of
food in the supermarket. I was talking about supermarket choices.
Just the supermarkets themselves, that's right. There's such a wide variety. I was very impressed, I have to say.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit
because I do the cooking.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about eating and shopping in a few minutes. But I did just want to mention, like, if in the supermarket, it's like, for me, it's part of a trip is going and exploring a supermarket.
Well, we do that everywhere we go, don't we? Yeah.
It's amazing the different foods that you get. Absolutely fantastic. What you can find for sale, and obviously because we're self-catering, because we're staying in our own apartment, we were going around the supermarkets anyway because we had to find stuff to eat, and the choice was just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Now, I'll talk a little bit about staying sensible, because I know there's always a question marks about safety. I didn't feel unsafe in Cape Town, but we did take precautions. We always have crossbody bags. Doug has a crossbody bag as well, so kept everything in there. Keep your phone out of sight. Didn't go out at night, walking at night, because I felt that would not be safe. As I say, with Uber, we made sure 100% that we're getting into the Uber driver that matched on the app, so there was no concerns about that. But I think it was just not being ostentatious with what we're wearing, not a lot of jewelry, not, and I know I talked maybe about 20, 30, in fact, it might be even longer, maybe about 25 years ago, I had a friend who came to Cape Town, and I remember at the time saying, just be really careful, because she had like quite a nice gold necklace, and it did actually get taken off. But that can happen anywhere. It's the same with your phone. You have to be careful. Right. Any major city, London, Paris, Rome, Cape Town, you just have to be careful. The only time I felt a little bit uneasy was, I guess, when we were in Sea Point walking around, because there was a lot more kind of beggars walking around there. But I was with Doug, so I felt okay. But I think it's just like everywhere. It's just having your wits about you, and making sure that you're aware of your surroundings at all times, really.
Definitely.
Now, what about packing and what to wear? Hi, it's Tracy, just popping in mid-episode. If you're listening to this, chances are you're planning a trip of your own. Our free global trip planner takes you step by step from big idea to booked itinerary. Download it at globaltravelplanner.com/trip planner. Link in the show notes.
Yeah, because we'd come from Europe, which is in the middle of summer.
It was hot.
It was very hot, and the UK was very hot. And then coming down to winter, we needed to carry probably a bit more luggage.
Yeah, that's true. We did have 2 lots. But then I guess the main thing is that the main thing I'd say about Cape Town in the winter is that, yes, it is chilly. But it does warm up in the day, and I think that's the thing, especially on the sunny days, which were the majority of days that we were there. But the houses themselves are quite cold.
That's right.
So you're going to need your blankets and take your pajamas. I mean, we bought a hot water bottle.
We did about hot water bottles, that's right.
As well. But we found basically during the day it was going out with layers on, and then as it warmed up, taking those layers off. And I bought myself a beautiful pink puffer jacket.
You did?
From a shop in at the Victoria and Albert Waterfront. So I wore that quite a lot. You bought yourself a jumper.
Yeah.
And I think you had your woolly hat, and we did buy a couple of caps because again it was sunny.
Yeah,
so we need those. So we needed sunglasses.
Well, I buy a cap everywhere I go, though.
Yeah. But I bought one, which I usually don't tend to wear one, but I did because it was quite sunny.
Because the sun was low winter.
Yeah. So I think the main thing is the layers, is having a kind of, T-shirt on and then a jumper and then maybe a jacket on, and then you can take those off as it warms up. Because it did get very warm. In fact, I think we got, sunburnt. It was that warm.
I think I had shorts on one afternoon.
So that's a variety of kind of the weather. One thing that is really important is make sure you've got comfortable shoes because you're going to do a lot of walking.
That's right.
So that's that. I guess that was the main things I would say. It's basically just the layers. Probably no different than if I was in, I would say probably somewhere like the UK, but maybe October, March sort of weather. I would not. Right. It was certainly not as cold as a UK winter, that's for sure.
No, definitely.
But as I say, we did have very, very reasonable temperatures. But also, I would say if you're going to do your packing to go to South Africa, leave yourself plenty of room in your suitcase for the souvenirs because you are going to buy stuff. I guarantee. Now, I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. But you will want the room in your suitcase to bring the beautiful things that you're going to buy back with you. Now, let's go back to eating.
Yep.
One of our favourite topics. And we had some amazing food. Now, you were really looking forward to having some bobotie, which is something that it's actually South Africa's national dish, which is kind of like a Swedish curry.
Yeah.
And you enjoyed it.
I do like that, yes. It's very nice.
Yeah, so we had bobotie in a couple of places, and I think we did eat it the V&A Waterfront. Went into a restaurant called Caribou.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Which is really nice, very tourist friendly. The food was really good. But my absolute favourite bobotie, apart from my friend Delene's house when we went up to Johannesburg,
first, yes.
Was the bobotie samosas we had at and I'm going to say the Oranje Zicht City Farm Market, which was on the Saturday and Sunday. It's on at the weekend. The bobotie samosas.
Well, unbelievable. Absolutely
I could
unbelievable.
eat one right now. You know that. I could eat probably 10 right now. And they were actually, I think there were 3 for 60 rand. Was that right?
Yeah,
so basically,
like that,
3 for $6. So 3 for a pound each, basically.
Yeah.
And they were absolutely delicious.
We went back for extras, to be fair.
We did. We went and bought some takeaway with us. Because the food's quite expensive at the farm market, but it's very good. But the samosas weren't. They were really, really good value and very, very tasty. Some other food that we had that we really enjoyed was which we all talked about in the previous episode, was the Bocap cooking class we did with Valdella Tolka. We did some Cape Malay curry. We did some samosas there with her. Did roti. It was just delicious.
Stunning food.
I could go back to that cookery class again and again, I reckon, because it was so good. Another trip that we did when we went to visit friends is they took us to Kalki's, which is a fish and chip shop in Kalk Bay. So you can imagine this fish is incredibly fresh, and it was delicious.
As fresh as it can be, really, to be fair.
That was a lovely experience, absolutely. So thanks very much to Stephen and Marie for taking us there, because we thoroughly enjoyed that. So that's Kalki's in Kalk Bay, which is really well known. The other place that we went to, which we went to a few times, was Hugo's in Sea Point.
That's right.
Which has got fantastic food. We loved the staff. Staff was so incredibly friendly. We did not find the food expensive, but just delicious. Lots of small plates, so you could just keep eating and eating, which we did, which was fantastic. I know you want to mention another thing as well as bobotie, which you discovered this trip, which you really enjoyed.
Yes, I found Melva pudding.
Do you want to describe that a bit?
Well, other than delicious, it's like a sponge pudding, and you have it with custard.
And it is delicious. Even I like it. I'm not a big dessert fan, but I do enjoy it.
Is it apricot jam? Is it?
I think apricot jam in it. Yeah, I've got to actually get a recipe from my friend Celine. Yeah, and then maybe I can share that as well. So that's really good. And then one thing we did do as well is we went to Mount Nelson for afternoon tea.
We did.
So Mount Nelson is a very iconic luxury hotel in Cape Town, which I'd been to 25 years ago and wanted to go back again. So we took our daughter Dominique for her 30th birthday and had a beautiful afternoon tea.
We did.
And you enjoyed the tea?
Well, I did, because I don't drink alcohol. I am quite partial to a cup of tea, if anybody knows me. But they had a tea sommelier there, which I have to... I was staggered. I've never even knew it was a job, but all these array of different teas and herbal teas and every imaginable tea under the sun, and I would have tried every single one if I could have done, to be fair.
It was about 86 different teas,
something like that. Yeah.
And we had a different tea with each kind of course.
Yeah, we all tried different teas, didn't we? We all had different ones, so we could try each other's, yeah.
So that was really, really good. So I'd recommend that if you want to go on a bit of a splurge and something really nice and special, is to head to the Mount Nelson for afternoon tea.
It was very magical.
But generally, all the food we ate was fantastic.
I think it was.
It was really fantastic. We enjoyed just the variety of choice as well. Even in Woolies, just going to the supermarket.
Right.
It was just
pick and pay.
Pick and pay, yeah. Just go and choose just have a look around all the different types of food. In fact, before I left, because I love biltong, and I did spot a biltong soup.
Biltong soup.
So I want to really try that. I think that would be really something worth trying. But yeah, enjoy the food, because you're going to have some.
Yeah.
There's fantastic food. Now, I'm not a seafood fan at all. I'll eat some fish, which I did enjoy the fish and chip when I went to Calky's, but I know certainly Dominic and Luke thoroughly enjoyed all of the seafood that they had.
That's right. I had some of Hugo's, some of the fish there. The salmon was just...
You had king clip as well, didn't you? And
I tried king clip as well.
So some of the South African fish as well are absolutely worth trying. Right, swinging back to buying things. I did buy a few things.
A few things.
I did. I bought some beautiful...
Some of my clothes never made it back out of South Africa.
I bought some beautiful wire animals. So I've got a gorgeous multicoloured giraffe. I bought a lion, a head to go on the wall, an antelope to go on the wall. What else did I buy? A few elephants. Oh yes, I bought some wire. The beautiful wire, because obviously bringing wood into a place like Australia you can't do that. So you can get the beautiful wire creations. I've also bought some pinhead proteas and some strelitzias. Also made of wire with the beads. Just beautiful. We seem to have bought lots of different things. Actually, when I was talking to Dominic before, because on a draining board, she had one of those plates for the graters for garlic. Well, we bought one of those as well.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So that was really good. So you'll find lots and lots of choices in the markets. Now, if you're like me and you like bright colours, you are going to be spoilt for choice.
Oh, we really are, yeah.
Everything is just stunning. In fact, I could probably have filled up the suitcase about 10 times over.
Maybe next time.
And I'm already thinking, what would I want to buy next time? So honestly, give yourself plenty of space in your suitcase, because you will want to. Now, because it's winter, you can haggle a bit more as well for prices. So they're not as expensive. They don't push them up as expensive as they are during the summer months. But yes, you can say what is your best price. So for example, I can't remember how much the lion's head was. Say it was 900 rand. Does that sound right? Yeah, 900 rand. Can I say what 800 rand? What's your best price? So you can kind of haggle a bit to get the price down, but be reasonable. I mean, obviously, this is a lot of work that goes into this stuff. So just be mindful about the cost of stuff. I've already talked a little bit about the weather again, just to mention as well, is that it can be wet in the winter.
Oh, of course.
So take a raincoat. We did take raincoats. Did we wear it?
Once,
maybe once or twice. I think only when we went down to the shop to get some food. Because what we tended to do as well, because we had the flexibility of being there for 3 weeks, is that we could stay in and work on those days.
Yeah, I think we waited till it stopped raining.
Oh, did we? So maybe we didn't wear the raincoat. I have a feeling I took it out once and maybe put it on once. Yeah. So worth having, just having that there with you. Also, if you're going to do stuff as well, just be mindful that it's going to be dark by about 6. So often we were down at the V&A Waterfront, so we would just get an Uber back to the apartment rather than do that walk. It was only sort of 6-7 minute walk, but just felt safer just to get a taxi back to the door of the apartment. Now, one thing we didn't do, but I'm going to mention it, is if you're interested, is that over the winter is whale season. And so if you head towards False Bay side, you're going to see whales. Even from Simonstown, I remember sort of 30 years ago seeing whales in that bay. And actually, when we were on the tour, we were watching out. We didn't see any though. But so if you do see whales, if you want to go and see whales, it is the season to go and have a look. And another reason, consider winter if that's something
Most
that you want to do.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I guess if somebody's going to ask the question, would we go back in winter? Would you go back in winter?
Oh, most definitely, yes.
Absolutely, 100%. I think the thing is that we were incredibly lucky with the weather.
Yep.
What I would say is that one thing I did feel like I would like to have stayed a little bit longer is because then you've got the flower season, which starts kind of going up towards, I think, Swakopmund, I think I've hopefully got that right, where you've got all of the wildflowers kind of north of Cape Town, and the tours were starting the week after we left.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, so I was a little bit sad about that. So I potentially would have extended into August and stayed a couple of weeks longer to have done the flowers. But you know what that means?
We have to go back.
Just means we have to go back. It means we have to go back in August, September.
Yeah, definitely stay at the same place as well if we could.
100%. Definitely going to go and stay at the same apartment because it was just perfect for our needs. Absolutely perfect. In fact, I think we could have just bought it and stayed there forever.
I think we probably could, yeah.
It was really, really good. So another thing I wanted to mention that's worth knowing is about accessing Wi-Fi.
Oh, that's true.
Using your phone.
Yep.
So we both downloaded an eSIM before we went.
We did.
So I use Saily eSIM. Again, I've got an article on the website. You can access that where I kind of compare the different eSIMs. So we use Saily. We also have a VPN on our phone as well. So that means that we kind of have a private network. So it means that you're not vulnerable if you're at an airport, for example, or on an unsecured network. So we also have the VPN and we have the eSIM. So VPN, we have NordVPN on the phones, and then we had the Saily eSIM. Now, these were really easy, weren't they, to add on?
They really were. We had actually had them onto the phone before we arrived into South Africa and then just activated it.
Yeah, as soon as we landed at Johannesburg Airport,
yeah.
As soon as we landed at Johannesburg Airport, we just activated them on our phones and that was it.
Yep.
I think I had 20 megabytes and you about the same.
Something like that.
I think I had to add a few extra on mine, but that lasted probably 4 weeks.
Yeah, I think it is.
So it was pretty good. Now, we did have good Wi-Fi in the apartment as well, so that was good. So it meant that we didn't have to use that when we were back. Once we got into the apartment, we could switch off our phone Wi-Fi and just access the Wi-Fi in the apartment. But we did keep the VPN on because sometimes you'll find that it's weak security. If you're doing banking or you're doing any online stuff that, anything like that, transferring money or doing anything, accessing your emails even, you don't really want anybody accessing your the network. So that's what we do. We still always have that. So I found those very reasonable. So say I'll add that information about the Saily eSIMs as well. But just how easy and quick it is these days to add. I don't know why anybody would want a SIM that they put in their phone these days. If you've got a phone that you can add an eSIM to it, do it.
I was to say, it's only the modern phones you can really add the eSIM into.
Most phones these days, I think the modern ones, have got that ability. So definitely consider an eSIM. Well, hopefully that has given you, with last week's episode, or 2 weeks ago's episode, all about things that we did in Cape Town. It should hopefully give you a kind of good idea about what to do, see, and what to consider when you're planning your trip. But also do check out on the website, globaltravelplanning.com, because there'll be a lot more articles and more detail there about the different day trips that we did out. Also a review of the accommodation and some of the different types of foods that we tried. So there's going to be some more detailed articles on globaltravelplanning.com. So do pop over to the website and check those out. But hopefully in the next few weeks, we're going to be chatting with you all about our game drives that we went on. So we flew up to Johannesburg after our 3 weeks in Cape Town, and we spent a week on a game reserve.
We did.
And so we're going to talk all about that, what to do and see, and again, some tips if you're planning a game drive in Southern Africa. So do tune in a couple of weeks for that. But I guess that leaves me and you to say until next episode. Happy Global Travel Planning.